How to make a song like The Circus Is In Town by Dominum. My name is Felix Heldt. I'm producer from Germany, and I'm also the singer by coincidence for a band called Dominum. And I produced this song, and I also mixed the song this time, so I'm totally able to show you anything you want to know, or you might not want to know, but then this is not the right video for you, because this is very geeky. This is if you're interested in how a song is arranged, how a song is created, how the story behind the song is, and how the little puzzle pieces get together to a whole big mess. So this is what this video is about. If you just want to hear the song, I would highly recommend you to check out the music video, because it's also funny, and I have better makeup in the music video than I have right now. So this song is a unique song. We tried to do something very different here, and the whole idea started with the catchphrase, let's call it, which is called "The Circus Is In Town." It was intended when I watch the news or when I open my social media, I have the feeling that everything is crazy. There's nothing normal anymore in this world. And I switch on the news and I see what's going on in the world. And I had the intention, the circus is in town. Because, yeah, as said, everything seems to be extraordinary nowadays. So this is how the intention was for the song. What was really quickly, there was this main part, which we're about to hear in a second, which is "The circus isn't." Why don't we listen to it right away? This is how it all started with. The circus is in town. The circus is in town. Rip it off, rip it off. The circus is in town. The circus is in town. The circus is in town. Rip it. You get the idea. It's a crazy beat. It's just weird, and the riffing, this is what was first there at the very beginning, and then I thought, cool, I have a cool riff that I never did before, and I have also this reggaeton groove, which is coming from South America, mainly South American music, which is not so commonly used in heavy metal music, so I thought it might be a cool thing to do. And then I wrote a song, and then I almost deleted it completely again, because it felt like we have something very special, very unique going on, and it felt like an okay song. But that's the thing when writing songs, you lying in your bed at night and wonder, is that the best chorus, is that the best verse, is that the best everything there can be? And it turned out it wasn't. And I also like this freaky melody that's at the beginning, which sounds like this. Which you all know, because this is like the typical circus melody. It was not there at the beginning as well. And then my good friend Ben visited me in the studio, and I played him this song, and he was like, yeah, it's a cool song, but why don't you take this circus melody at the beginning? And I was like, well, good point. So this is, again, how important it is to collaborate with your friends, with people that you know, people that whose opinion you value. And so it was a kind of a ping-ponging back and forth. And so we tried to implement this circus melody, which turned out to be kind of cool, and went more into the circus direction, because if you want to do a circus song, why not do it properly? And this is what made it very, very cool. And then I wrote a verse and a chorus, and then my good friend Robin Felder, he sent a chorus to me, which he said, listen to this, and it was so much cooler. And then after we committed to this chorus, I felt like, okay, but now the verse is not good enough anymore. So, it went, okay, now we got a stronger hook, awesome. Now we got a stronger chorus, now the verse is too weak. So, oh my God, then I wrote another verse, and this is actually how the song ended up with. So, again, collaborations is the key to everything. You can achieve anything while sitting alone in your studio and working day and night, but then you might take months to write a song. And why not take the risk of of going with someone else and like letting that into your heart, and just like, if something is better, it's better. No egos involved anymore. No one cares. You don't care. So I'm super happy that this ended up like it is now. And I would say we listen to the intro, the verse, and the chorus, and then we scout through the session. Let's go. And I drink a coffee. Circus is in town. The circus is in town. Repeat off, repeat off. The circus is in town. While they slowly creep into your head, the curtain is falling tight. I've already been dead. See the clothes parade and see the drum and roll play. This is what the experts say. Battle up, let your head explode. Battle up, let your hammer blow. Battle up, clear the ring to door. Attention, you got the deal, right? Maybe what's interesting here as well is that this song is very much built into production. So we are a little bit away from, okay, let's write a song and then we arrange it 2 months later. This, to me at least, doesn't work anymore. I'm so much song oriented that I want to get the thing right at the beginning. So when I feel that something is going in a wrong direction production wise, I immediately have to change it, because otherwise when I try to do it 2 months later, I will never get into that spirit anymore like I did when I was writing and arranging it the first time. So get it right at the source. It's an old saying, but it's actually true, because this whole we'll do it later, you will, but probably not as good as you do it when you're in the moment. Obviously, when you're in the songwriting mode, you have to make pragmatic decisions and don't get lost in the production, but get your, I would say it's important to get the whole vibe of the production right from the beginning, because vibe is very important. So it starts with the drum sounds, it starts with the bass and guitar sounds, and it starts with everything else. So if you have a vision, try to put it down as soon as you can, without interrupting your creative flow, of course. So we have some great drums, which were recorded by Simon Michael in his great studio, which is called the Great Hall Studio. And I don't want to bore you with mixing and samples and stuff, but the drums alone sound like this. Yeah, and obviously the drums were, when I write a song, I don't have a drum kit here, and I can't play the drums really well, so I program them as close as I can get it to what I have in mind it should sound like. And then we went to Simon's place and tried to tune the drums and put them down as close to the draft that I made as possible. And I think it worked out quite well, and obviously you have the chance to put on samples and all that stuff to enhance it and to make it larger than life and make the kick drums sound like cannons and the snares sound like a smack in the face. But yeah, this is what we did, and this is just basically some drums. But this is not a mixing tutorial, so I don't want to bother you with any drum mixing advice. Then we have a bass guitar, which is also it's a bass guitar. Awesome. But where it gets interesting is with the synth sounds, because I had the feeling that this tuning of the song, which is, I don't know what it is, but I think it's G or G sharp or something. When I listened to the riffing, which is here, this is obviously tuned very low, but a natural bass guitar can't go that low. And if you, at least in my feeling, if you have a bass guitar that's tuned that low, there is not much coming out in terms of tonal information, and I need that tonal information. So I called, which you might remember from the last production overview that you've seen for Don't Get Bitten by the Wrong Ones, I called again the great Konstantin Krieg, and I told him my issue. That I said, I have the feeling that we could get one octave below, but I need a synth that is working really well together with the bass and with the synths. Can you do something like this? And then he shaped something with his Moogie stuff that he has, and so he came up with something, and it was quite nice because he warned me, if you listen to it alone, it sounds very boring. Don't listen to it alone. So we are going to listen to this alone now in solo. Probably you have to listen to this on headphones because it's very low. And I sent him the MIDI, which was the riffing, and he sent it back and said, it's cool, but I tried something and sent you an alternative version, which is called here, you can see it, Moog Slow. And he said, I simplified the riff a tiny bit because I had the feeling it gets too exciting, which is weird to say, but so I gave it a go. And again, collaborations, it worked so much better, and it didn't interrupt the groove of the song because it's a dancey groove, right? You want to dance to it. It enhanced it. So as he said, don't listen to it in solo, because in solo this sounds very boring. But if we listen to it in a whole mix, when I put this red button here, it's muted. You can feel that this whole low octave is gone, and yeah. So again, this is how important that is for that song. And in the chorus, he did something else, which he called synth bass, which makes sense. Let's listen to that one. Yeah. This is something you can see on the waveform here, which is moving a bit, also left and right. So we did some limiting here that keeps everything in place. So because obviously the guitars are very low endy, the bass guitar is very low endy, the kick drums are very low endy. You need a certain kind of steadiness to not get everything too crazy in the mix and to get it too cloudy. So this is why we limited this. Yeah, but in the end, this was very important for the whole thing. So much about the bass guitar. Also, we have some great guitars. This is basically one guitar, left and right, obviously. Slightly different sound, but it adds up quite nicely. And here in the second half of the intro, there comes another pair of guitars, which sounds like this. And all three pairs of guitars together sound like that. Yeah, so that is basically what's the moneymaker to me in the song. It's this riffing. And we should maybe, as the guitars are not super spectacular, I can show you what's going on in the chorus. Also, very uncommon for us and for me is that the playing is not do 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 because I'm an eighth guy, but here it felt like do 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 is more driving and more giving more speed to the song, and this is what we tried to do, that it gets as much speed as you can. Yeah, so I think that's already about it for the guitars. There's also again some lead guitar going on. Let's see, as we're in the chorus. Those are the chorus guitars, and the lead guitar in the chorus is this here. This to me is a guitar that has a little bit of a Bring Me the Horizon vibe, because whenever I think of Bring Me the Horizon, I have this guitar in mind which has a lot of reverb, a lot of delay on it, and it gives just a really nice vibe to the guitars. And it's ducked so that whenever the kick is hitting, it gets quiet for a little bit, so the kick can be more heavy. That's a very production thing, but it was also very important to the vibe. If you switch off all the side chaining, it is called, then everything gets very messy. So for a 4 on the floor song like this, it totally makes sense. Whenever it gets crazy, I tend to use something like a whammy, which I did in the second verse. We have some guitars going on that yeah, it's an A-B thing, so the vocals go and then the riffing comes. And in the second verse, when the riffing comes, I did some little bits of whammy here. Let's have a listen. Listen to them alone. So yeah, it sounds very great. But this gives just a little boost and a little level up as a second verse, because I tend to do something slightly different, or maybe drastically different, not in this song here, in the second verse, just to keep it exciting. And so it seems to be also some whammy action going on here, and in the last breakdown part, let's have a listen. Yeah, there's also some whammy going on, which is cool. And that's already it for the lead guitars as well. It's very straight. And before we get to this production dust kind of stuff, probably a lot of stuff is going on in the synths again, as last time, because also this song here started with a sound. And I'm gonna play you this sound right here, which is, it seems to be so this synth plus some Omnisphere sound, plastic toy piano, of course, which sounds like this. That's only the piano, and then this other sound, this other sound gets add up and adds up. And I summed this on a track because it made sense to me, and to keep things that you can handle them, it makes sense to bounce down things to groups and stems. You don't need everything single. If you can commit to things, it makes it a lot easier during the mixing process. So that is the sound it all started with. I was playing around probably with a toy piano and with the different riff, as you remember in the first, I told this in the first minute, with a different riff, but then we just applied the circus melody to those synths, and everything worked quite nicely. So awesome. This, it seems to be that there is stuff coming in the second half where also the low guitars are added to the arrangement. There's also some cembalo going on. Let's have a listen. Yeah, nice. Together it sounds like this. So it gets even more freaky. The whole riffing gets doubled by some synth. Let's see. Yeah, this probably adds up quite nicely to the bass guitar and the guitars. It gives just another layer of excitement, and what's always cool is if you don't load a patch and just leave it there forever, if you change some things. And many patches, if you have like an Omnisphere or any synth that you want to use, play with the mod wheel. It's that little thing on the side of your keyboard if you have one, and this is what it looks like in Reaper. If you can also automate it with your mouse, but this opens up and it opens up a filter, and this makes you think it's going even crazier towards the ending. So yeah, always play with the mod wheel. What else is going on in here? We have some brass death, they are called. Let's have a listen. So here, first half of the riffing, it's just a straight note, which sounds very dramatic and very, yeah, like in a horror movie. But then here, where you can see this, I probably automated an LFO tool, which I told you about the ducking whenever the kick hits. And this is exactly what happens here. Also, the second half is different than the first half. So it goes from... It's already in the first half, but just a tiny bit, and then it gets crazier. Yeah, and this is what makes it even more spooky, let's say. And of course, we have some organ going on, which also looks sidechained and LFO'd. Let's have a listen. Yeah, basically the same thing, just another layer. And just to give you an idea of how it sounds without any of those keyboards or synths or programmings or whatever you want to call it, let's have a listen. Still sounds cool, but this thing here gets... To me, at least, it's a whole different world, and it's a whole different atmosphere. When we look in the chorus to the synths, let's have a listen what's going on here. Yeah, this is probably not as much as you would expect, because there's so many vocals going on, which we get to later. But this is just a sidechained synthy pad, which is mostly there to enhance the frequency spectrum. If you listen to it alone, it sounds like a Scooter song, but it's not. It's just a tool to make it even larger than life. So yeah. Also, this thing here, it's called high strings. It sounds like this. It sounds horrible when you listen to it alone, but listen to what happens. I'll just switch off the vocals for a second. Listen to what happens when I switch this off in the whole picture. When I press this button, it's switched off. Let's have a listen. It's one whole octave that's missing there. So those things are very important for your production. It's like putting salt in your dish. Salt tastes horrible when you taste it on its own, but if you put it in a soup, it's going to enhance the soup or whatever you cook. So this is how you have to picture all of this stuff that sounds weird on its own. yeah, but this is what makes it cool to me. Is there anything else that I can show you? I don't think there's too much stuff going on. Let's see what goes on in the middle part. Yeah, that's the very disturbing and spooky horror melody that's been done with some stuff. I don't know. This is just some shimmer on it. I don't. Probably it was also some omnisphere sound, and also here again, if you listen to this, it opens up. Something's happening. Something is happening. It gets more exciting by the end, and yeah, when the drop is coming, it sounds like this in the big picture. Let's have a listen real quick. Yeah, there's not too much new stuff. This is two patches that make a little bit of a 16th movement. One sounds like this. Also opening up to the end. Second one sounds like this. Same thing basically, just a different sound. And all the other elements you already know, because this is the same thing as we listened before. Yeah, so if you have cool stuff in your arrangement going on, try to make the most out of your patches and don't try to create anything completely new for every part. You don't have to. If you have some cool ingredients, it's like, yeah, Italian cuisine. You just need a few very good ingredients to make a good pasta sauce. It's the same with music. Sometimes, if someone might talk differently in Dream Theater or whatever, but this is not Dream Theater. This is Dominum. So we try to not keep it low, not at all. But we don't need a completely different world in every part necessarily. And this is actually what's going on in the synths. Nice. And as you might know, I always have a production folder, which some crazy stuff is going on. I will show you everything here. If you're not interested, you can skip to the vocals. Somewhere I will write down where to skip to the vocals if this is too boring for you. This is something going into the verse, which is a reverse vocal. This is nothing too crazy, but here seems to be another one. That is probably the same sample as this one here, but with some other effect on it. Maybe it was an Altar Boy by Sound Toys. I don't remember, but this is also an idea. If you have something cool that's working, just take this element and make it a little bit crazier with some of those billion plugins that you probably have on your hard disk. So that's always a good idea. Then obviously, when it goes into that breakdown part, we have some heavy impact going on. Let's have a listen. Wow. So when you listen to this on a PA, it's going to collapse, but this is what we want. What I did here was, I think I did some doubles of the kick drum with a so-called machine gunshot machine gun. Let's have a listen how this sounds. Let's mute it. No, I didn't mute it. It's cool. It adds another layer. Yeah, it makes it even more brutal, and brutal is what we want. Brutal. There is, of course, another impact going into that part. Let's have a listen. Yeah, it's gonna make your sound system collapse even more. Perfect. So if this one impact wasn't enough, this one will serve it. Here we have a swoosh going into the breakdown. Oh geez, we have to talk about the bridges as well, because this was a nightmare to do. I remember that. But step by step, this is the swoosh. This is also, on its own, it sounds horrible, but if you listen to it in context. Basically, it's a modern enhancement of a cymbal, I would call it. It's more than if you hit on a cymbal, it's something otherworldly that adds up to your cymbal. Here we have a tape start, which goes into the second chorus, which sounds like that. How is it in the context? Yeah, I think that's just a nice transition to make everything flow a little better. And here we have some haze. Let's have a listen. First in context, then I will solo them. Yeah, that's just something that enhances the groove. I can mute those 3 haze. Let's see. It is subtle, but it adds some groove to it, and I want to dance a little bit more. And I like to dance, so that's fine. In the first part of the middle, I would call it build up, there is some ambience going on. Let's have a listen to that. First in context, then I will solo it. Yeah, it's a circus, what can you expect? What can I say? It's just crazy. And this is what the song needed, and we did it. In the breakdown part, we have some loops going on, which is this. This changes also in the second half. You can see that I did a lot of automation here. Those elements are quieter than those, so it enhances. I can see it. Da-da, 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 da-da. So it enhances the what the bass drums are playing again and what the guitars are playing. So another layer of craziness. We also have a loop going on in the chorus, which we're going to listen to in context, and then I will solo it. Again, on its own, it sounds like elevator waiting music, but in this context, it adds up to the groove and you want to shake your ass more, which is what we want. There is, of course, a bell, which is reversed, as I can see it. Let's have a listen. Perfect sample. It's a circus song, so we need some animals and some crazy stuff. I think I can totally play you this whole bunch, which happens in the second verse. Oh, I didn't quite name it right. Which happens in the second verse. And let's have a listen. What's going on here? Elephant. And now the monkeys come. Yeah, those are weird monkeys, but I think I might have changed some pitch here in the context. It just adds up a bit of craziness. Attention, attention, elephant. Now the monkeys. Yeah, we're almost there. We have some claps going on in this very part, which only happen in this part. Nice. I had it somewhere else, but I decided to mute it, so this is why this is grayed out. There's a track which is called Loop Weird. Let's have a listen what this sounds like. This is indeed weird. Let's have a listen in the context. when I'm muted, something is missing. Have a listen.
Repeat off, the circus is in town.
It's all those little details that matter in the end and that add up. Here we have a classic church bell, which is awesome. Epic. This track is empty. We can delete it. Here's another church bell, which was reversed and then played again. Let's have a listen. Epic church bell. Here is another build-up. Yeah, this goes probably into the breakdown, which is there another riser, which sounds like that. Yeah. A lot of swooshing and swashing. Here is a snare bump, which sounds like that. This I have out of some sample pack that I got. And here I did something which I usually don't do, which is I automated the pitch in a sample. What the hell? Let's have a listen. This is what it sounds without automation. Straight note. And this is what it sounds automated. It's a detail, but this is probably what I did when I was arranging this song. And this kind of stuff, which makes to me the whole difference about music production, you would never do if you say, okay, on Tuesday at 10 a.m., I'm gonna arrange this song. This is what you would never do. If you're in the process, do stupid stuff like this, do everything, and then come back 2 weeks later and delete it if necessary. But you won't create anything like this later, I think. At least I don't. Here we have some last track, which is called Tambourine. Guess what it's... Let's guess what on it. It's a tambourine. Who would have thought that? This was destroyed by my favorite plugin, which is called RC20. Without it, it sounds like this. Nice tambourine. Broken tambourine. Well, you want the broken tambourine. Always. This is the instrumental of The Circus Is In Town. Let's have a listen to the vocals. We do have some lead vocals going on, which sound like this.
You light to your cracked while they slowly creep into your head. The curtain is falling tight, I have already been dead.
Here you can see that I have a different treatment on the bridge vocals. Let's discover why. Here it seems to be an effect track. The bridge sounds like this. This is very quiet. Probably then the effect track is very loud. Let's have a listen.
See the clowns parade and see the drum roll play. This is what the experts say.
Probably I did something. It says here vocal synth. So vocal synth is a cool plugin where you can feed some MIDI notes into the plugin, and then there's a billion cool presets where you can do crazy stuff with everything, mostly vocals because it's a vocal synth. But this is what we did here, and this is the main track, and there is stuff going on. I can see that there is a throw delay going on, which is called throw pitch. It seems quite important. Let's see if we can find it. It must be somewhere here. It's called throw pitch, and when you hear that note,
play. This is what the experts say.
You can hear that there's some crazy stuff going on in the background. We will listen to that crazy stuff in solo here. It's also automated. It's probably a Valhalla delay. Those are the settings. It changes the pitch in the feedback. And a lot of stuff is also automated here. The feedback, the pitch shift goes higher. So if it's progressing, this thing here should move. And this diffusion also goes up a little bit. And then everything goes down in the little break. Let's see. This already changes. Yeah, so this is this effect here. And chorus vocals, probably bamalams, are split from the not bamalams. Probably I treated them a little bit different, or I wanted to have the freedom to turn them down, which I did not do. We could have printed it to one track, but I didn't. And here we are in the backing vocals area. That's a lot of backing vocals here. Let's see. We have 4 voices of those here. Let your head explode like a hammer blow. That is a double of the non-bamalams. Then there's probably some harmonies for the non-bamalams. Let your head explode like a hammer blow. Let's go to that here, because here happens more. There's different backing vocals on the first chorus than on the second and on the third, because I wanted to have some improvement and some, not improvement, but some second level in the second chorus. So there is some backing vocals that only come from here on, which sounds like this. Let your head explode. Yeah, it's just a little sentence. Clear the ring, this was sung in head voice, and this was sung in chest voice, or mixed voice at least. Clear the ring, and together it sounds like this. Let your head explode like a hammer blow. Clear the ring, good Lord. Oh yeah, I wanted to emphasize this. Good Lord! This, good Lord! What is happening with the circus? So I tried to sing it as powerful as I could. It's very high. Yeah, but this is, I think, the vocals in general for the non-bamalams. Then, as last time, there is this guy which is called Phil, and he's a very good friend with a very good voice, and I kind of got him here and gave him a lot of coffee and asked him if he could sing this. It sounds like that. Let your head explode like a hammer blow. Yeah, this is a double of the main vocals. Which are those? Let your head explode like a hammer blow. And Phil and my voice are one of those voices that fit very well together. There's also voices that don't fit that well together. When you have like a duet of oftentimes a male and a female singer, and they don't blend really well, you have problem in mixing those. But our voices, fortunately, work really well together. So if we add his voice to the arrangement, it doesn't sound like 2 singers. It sounds like a monster. And this is what we want for Dominum, that we have monstrous vocal arrangements. So thank you, Phil, again for singing. He did another singing, Phil, which is probably the Bamalams. Yeah, it's the Bamalams. Also, I did a billion of Bamalams, I think. Let's have a listen. Aha, here there seems to be some stuff going on. No. What else do we have? This sounds like, looks like. Okay, it's a low octave of the Bamalams. What is this here? This here is a Bamalam with a formant shifter on it. It's probably some either it's melodyne or it's altar boy, where you can just take the formant and pitch it down a little bit. And the more of this crazy stuff you do, it sounds like it's more singers, because everyone has like a different anatomy, and this way you can try to achieve this result of having different singers on your record. It sounds like this together. Again, a whole lot of voices. That's it for the chorus, except for the chorus that we have down here. Probably they're doing also some Bamalams. yeah, it's just some warriors screaming as loud as they can. That's probably 160 times me and Phil singing that in different vibes. There is, in this song, a lot of stuff going on in the verse. The lead vocal here, we listened to it already before, sounds like this.
You lied to your cracked while they slowly creep into your head.
But there's also some layering going on, which sounds like this. Here we have a second voice. What's this sound like?
You lied to your cracked
It's just a
while they
regular
slowly-
double, but here we have some.
You lied to your cracked while they slowly creep into your head.
That's me singing very softly and having this formant shifter that I told you about. A little bit put the formants down. So together it sounds a little bit sleazy. I don't know what to call it. Let's have a listen.
You lied to your cracked while they slowly creep into your head.
It gives a little bit of depth. In the second sentence, there's some backing vocals come in, which sound like this.
Cracked while they slowly creep into your head.
So here this is a slowly creep into your head, like a backing voice. And here we have some shouts, I would say. Also with some formant stuff going on. To emphasize when the band comes in again, so that the vocal doesn't drop, I just put in here a little shout. And why don't we have a listen to the whole arrangement together so you can see how it all works together.
The curtain is falling tight, I've already been dead.
So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 voices plus the lead vocal. So yeah, it's a lot of effort to create a vibe like this in a verse, but it was worth it. And the second verse, the stuff is also happening. And that's it for the vocals as well, I think. There's not much stuff happening in the breakdown. It's probably just some me shouting, "The circus is in town," but let's be sure not to miss anything.
The circus is in town.
Yeah. Here maybe it's another interesting thing. In the second half of the build-up, there comes kind, which means child. And I tried to find a real child, but I did not find one that wanted to sing a scary vocal for that song. So I had to do it myself, and it sounds like this. Yeah, those are the moments in which you sit in your studio and sing a billion takes of this thing, and after that you wonder what you are actually doing. But I think it worked out quite nicely. It's just a horror child. What can you do? There's one last thing that I want to show you. It is... Where is it? I don't know where it is. Where can I find it? This is embarrassing. Here it is. It is called Breakdown. It sounds like this. That is a track that I bounced down because this was made with a plugin that is called Endless Smile by Dada Live. And it looks like this. It's probably the best looking plugin that you have. And what you do is you create a bus and you send everything that you want to have this plugin go through. Send everything into that bus and then automate this intensity knob here. There are very different algorithms, this like more extreme ones or more subtle ones. And what happens when you automate this knob is, I will simulate it. I printed it down, but imagine that I have a bus now where I send everything into except for the vocals. and then this happened. Yeah, and this is actually it for that song. And I think that's a great picture to end this. Maybe let's see how big I can get this. I can't get it any bigger. But this is the ending for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you you got a little bit behind the scenes of the Circus Is In Town. I hope this was inspiring to you. Do music, do own music, and do it yourself. It's very important. It makes you happy. It makes you look like this thing here when you have a cool song in the end that you engage with and that maybe someone else will engage with. So music is the best thing on earth. Just do music, makes you happy. Have a good one, have a good day, and see you soon.